Daniel Garcia grew up in Buffalo, New York and attended Hutchinson Central Technical High School. He was a bright young man focused on architectural engineering and graduated in 2018 as a member of the National Honor Society. Garcia continued his education at Buffalo State College, where he studied communications. His sights appeared to be set on a career in social media marketing, but he'd always had a love for professional wrestling since childhood. He grew up a fan and decided to try his hand at being an in-ring performer. About a year into college, Garcia began training with Brandon Thurston and Jesse Gilman, known to AEW fans as The Blade. It wasn't long before he was working matches for independent promotions like Nickel City Wrestling and Empire State Wrestling. He started to put his communication studies to use as well, volunteering as a social media assistant for ESW. He quickly caught the WWE's attention and was brought in as an enhancement talent for Drew Gulak on an episode of 205 Live. Less than 2 years into the business, and doors were opening everywhere for the young star, in both wrestling and marketing. Unfortunately, this rapid momentum was halted in January of 2019, when he and 4 other wrestlers were involved in a car crash that left Garcia with 2 broken legs. A GoFundMe was started for the crash victims to help with medical bills and recovery. Future AEW fellows Chris Jericho, Brody Lee, and even AEW founder Tony Khan were among the top donors for the campaign. It would take 6 months for Garcia to make his return to the ring, and he would do so for Capital City Championship Wrestling Combat, and a losing effort against future AEW fellow Stu Grayson. Despite the setbacks, things quickly turned around for Garcia, who would win the ESW Heavyweight Championship from his coach, Brandon Thurston, just days after his return to the ring. On top of winning his very first championship, he graduated from university with a communications degree in 2020. Fully recovered and out of college, Garcia was determined to capitalize on his wrestling talents and go full-time in the business. The COVID-19 pandemic forced AEW to begin taping shows at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida, for a large part of the year in 2020. This was the catalyst for many trainees and enhancement talents being given opportunities with the company, since a large part of their contracted roster was not available to them. Daniel Garcia was a beneficiary of this and worked 2 tag team matches on AEW Dark in September of that year. He was firmly on the company's radar, but his goal wasn't to just get a contract. His goal was to sign somewhere that would help him become the best wrestler he could be. He clearly left no stone unturned in his pursuits, because Daniel Garcia was everywhere in 2021. He continued to work matches for AEW, while making appearances for Game Changer Wrestling, Beyond Wrestling, and even overseas with New Japan Pro Wrestling. WWE still had their eyes on him as well, and placed him in a televised NXT match against Tyler Rust, under the ring name Dante Rios. One could call it the summer of Garcia, and he was taking the business by storm. Garcia was proving to be quite the prodigy, reigning consecutively as a world champion for C4, ESW, and Limitless Wrestling. At just 24 years old, it seemed as if he'd done it all on the independent scene. With nothing left to prove, he was ready to take the next step and commit to a company where he would continue his ascent in the business. Acknowledging his hard work and the dues he paid along the way, Tony Khan announced in October of 2021 that Daniel Garcia had signed with AEW and was officially All Elite.